I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. John, if you call roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Smith?
Present.
Alderman Dillard?
Present.
Alderman Hill?
Present.
Alderman Keen?
Present.
Alderman Lancaster?
Present.
Alderman Swatosh? Alderman Wilson? Present. Thank you. We do have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Was there any change to the agenda?
The only change, I put a corrected ordinance on your desk. It doesn't really change the terminology as far as it relates to the TAP consideration we were working on. It just correctly constructs the ordinance to approve the agreement. But it doesn't substantially change anything. Other than that, no other amendments to report.
All right. Everybody's had a chance to look at it. Can we get a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the agenda as with the adjustments per Wes's guidance.
Second. You have a first and a second.
<clears throat>
Alderman Dillard?
Yes.
Alderman Hill?
Yes.
Alderman Keen?
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Swatosh? Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item is the consent agenda. Is there anything we need to know about that one?
So,
If everybody's had a chance to review that and ingest it, if there are no questions, can we get a motion?
Are we ready? Make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
You have a first and a second. Alderman Dillard?
Yes.
Alderman Hill?
Yes.
Alderman Keen?
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next section is current outstanding invoices, draft and check paid invoices.
no additional.
Nothing further. If everybody wants to take a second to take a look at that, if you don't have any questions, can we have a motion? When you're ready.
Nothing there no additional to approve.
Nothing? Okay.
Nothing else.
There's nothing there, Troy. Do we need a motion on that or no?
We do.
It's included in
Yeah, it's was all included this time in the consent,
Perfect.
so there's no additional invoices.
All right, next section is citizen input. If there's anybody that would like to step forward and state your name and your address and voice any concerns or any issues you may have, now's the time to do it. Seeing nobody, we'll close that section. Next section, we have two proclamations. This is probably the most fun part of the job that I have. So I think the first one that we're going to do is for Ellie Higginbotham. Ellie, you can either stand up there, or you can come up forward or up front here and stand up here.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. It's practice. Towards you guys. You got
Sure, you
it.
just stand right up here.
Okay.
We can kind of put you on the spot,
Okay.
and you can just tell us what you did.
Okay, so I'm currently a sophomore at Willard High School, and I just had the opportunity to go compete at the state tournament the second year in a row for wrestling. I wrestled the 155 Class 2 girls pro bracket, and at that tournament I did pretty good, I'd say. I won state after placing last year 5th. I wrestle during the off season as well. I jump around weights during the off season by going to like 52, 54, staying around my 50. I have some big tournaments over the summer that I'm going to try to go do, but over the season, I just try to learn and grow grow women's wrestling.
Fantastic.
And then I just want to thank my coaches for being here. My parents for always making sure that I have rights.
Where coaches and parents stand up, please. job to try to embarrass her a little bit, but I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a minute. Do you know how I know you'll be successful in life, no matter what you do?
How?
Because wrestling is the best sport in the world, and once the match starts, you're on your own. You'll win and lose.
It's all dependent on you.
On
You
you,
don't have a
not
team.
because the quarterback threw an interception or running back fumbled, and you've learned that already. So really the only other question I had for you was, what motivates you more? The emotions and desire to win, or the fear of losing?
I would say the fear of losing, just because the fear of loss indicates that all you're putting in at practice isn't going the way that you're wanting to, and how putting in work at practice can result to your results on the mat. So yeah.
Does anybody else have anything, or think that embarrass her a little more? All right, well, stay where you are. I'm gonna read your proclamation, okay?
Okay.
All right, it'll be over in a minute. All right, whereas Ellie Higginbotham has demonstrated outstanding skill, determination, and sportsmanship in her recent Willard High School wrestling season, and whereas through her hard work, perseverance, and dedication, she has achieved the remarkable feat of securing the 2025 MSHSAA 155-pound state championship, and whereas Ellie Higginbotham has brought immense pride and joy to our community, serving as an inspiration to aspiring athletes and citizens alike. Whereas the victory not only highlights Ellie's talent and dedication, but also fosters a sense of unity and pride amongst the students of Willard High School and among all residents of Willard. Now therefore, I, Troy Smith, Mayor of Willard, do hereby extend my heartfelt congratulations to Ellie on her exceptional achievement. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Willard to be affixed this 24th day of March in the year 2025. Congratulations. All right. The next one we have is for Terry Cathcart. I think I saw him back there in the back. Terry, would you care to stand up?
That's a tough act to follow.
Well, you better be nice to her because she might hurt you out in the parking lot.
I haven't been thrown down for a while.
Terry, why don't you tell the crowd, a lot of us know your history here and what you've done. But tell us about the time and effort you've given to the city of Willard.
We'll start out with, after spending all my life traveling with the military, and finally retiring, finding town of Willard has been a blessing to my family. It's a small community like an army post, and everybody's close-knit. And it's been an honor to serve the people of this community as we try to grow and move forward, and serve the people is our only duty in this chamber. And I really, really have been honored to serve.
Total, how many years have you served on planning and zoning?
I believe it's 11.
Okay.
I think that's correct. I don't remember not being on it after I retired.
Mike, do you have any words?
Absolutely. Being a short timer here, Terry's been instrumental in helping me learn the ropes, learn what's been going on, learn a little bit of the history of Willard. And not only that, he publishes Willard wherever he goes. And he's going to be greatly missed on the planning commission. But we truly appreciate his service and his dedication to the citizens and the city of Willard.
Mr. Baird or anybody else that has served with Terry, is there anything you'd like to say?
It's been a great pleasure. Every meeting he brings something positive to the meeting, and as Mike said, he promotes Willard more than anybody else I've ever known.
All right. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. So,
Could I add
you can have whatever you want.
just a short? In the time that my family's been here, I've not been here that long, but I've not seen a staff that is so proactive towards the community until current And my kudos to Mike and Wes, and I don't know your new clerk yet, I've talked to her, but I don't know her yet. But they work harder than I've seen anyone outside of the military towards the goal of bringing this community together. And their support from you is what is needed. But I want to thank them for, and the mayor, by all means, for what you've done. And I'll still be here if there's something you think I might have in my archives or in my attic. I better not go there. Anyway, call me. You have my phone number. Call me.
Absolutely.
If I need to walk I've walked floodplains in boots to find the actual water flow with the former planner. And if you need somebody to walk a ring with you, go ahead, just call me.
All right.
I'll bring drinks.
Drinks. All right, thank you, sir. All right. Stay where you are. Whereas the city of Willard is deeply grateful for the dedication and tireless efforts of Terry Cathcart for the benefit of our community. And whereas Terry Cathcart has consistently demonstrated a commitment to serving the needs of our citizens, going above and beyond the call of duty. And whereas his actions have had a positive and lasting impact on the lives of many, fostering a stronger and more vibrant community. And whereas it is fitting that we acknowledge and celebrate his individual contributions to our city. Now therefore, I, Troy Smith, Mayor Willard, do hereby extend my sincere gratitude to Terry Cathcart on his exceptional service to the city of Willard. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Willard to be affixed this 24th day of March in the year 2025. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Get back
Oh, Terry, I'm sorry. We did have one more thing for you.
Terry.
Yes?
Sorry, we did have one
Something
more
else for
thing.
you.
Something nice for your office.
Oh,
Honor of your service, that was good in your office.
thank you.
Been nice for everybody else. Well deserved. Ellie, now's the time.
Oh, I thought you were going to Terry's party.
I told her unless she had the interest in civics or was gonna go into public administration, the rest would probably be kind of boring. I didn't want her to feel obligated to have to sit through it.
I was feeling that for Terry.
As most 16-year-olds aren't gonna find it too interesting. All right. Okay, the next item we have is consideration for the Water and Sewer Board. So here's how we're gonna do it, after consulting and with everybody about what the model or format tonight will be. What we're gonna do is we're gonna talk to the applicants, the ones that are here, obviously. Board members may have some questions for you regarding your resume and your experience. And then we're not gonna vote on anything tonight. We're not gonna make any selections. Everybody's just gonna take the information that you give them tonight, ingest it, and then we'll come back at a later meeting with the list of the five people that we select. Okay? So, do we have any volunteers of who would like to step forward? And we've got a few resumes. Some people gave resumes, some did not. Who wants to start it off? Or do you want me to just pick a name? I can pick the top list here unless somebody wants to start.
Brian's on top.
Brian Chapman's on top.
Well, your pile might be different than my pile. See, that's what I mean about trying to get 6 people to all do the same thing.
Troy probably has a paper copy, we have electronic.
Because I'm old fashioned.
I am too.
All right, is Justin here?
Page 72.
I don't know, I have the pages in front of me.
Justin not here?
I'm looking at the pages, I just.
Justin Schaefer?
I am, I don't know.
Please.
All right, Justin's not here. I know Angie's here. Angie, got you next.
Hi. Before I start, I wanted to mention that Jenny Williams asked me to let you know she had a family emergency, but she emailed, I think she emailed Wes just a few minutes ago with her answers. So I just thought I'd pass that along.
I'll print those real quick.
Oh, okay. Did you want to ask me questions or?
I guess just start off with the usual,
Okay.
why do you want to serve on the board?
Okay.
What expertise or information or knowledge, skills and abilities that you might bring to the board?
Sure. My name is Angie Wilson. I've lived in Willard for about 21 years. I'm an in-city applicant. And when this came up in October, I think it was October last year, went over the rate increases, I think it came up partly because I mentioned that it would be good to have some visible accountability for the residents to see exactly what happens with the additional rate, the additional revenue that we're getting because of the rate increases. And so that's partly it. I work at City Utilities in Springfield. And just so you know, I double checked that it's not a conflict of interest because City Utilities does not handle the sewer system. The City of Springfield, that's completely separate. I've worked there for 17 years in total. I'm in the gas and water department currently. So I have a lot, I'm not an engineer or anything, but I'm familiar with utilities. And so I'm just interested. I think it's important that the residents have a voice and have, you know, they want some accountability from the city, more than what is now, a little bit more easily accessible and more visible for them.
Anybody have any questions? No?
Well,
Go ahead.
yeah, being that the board does include members from incorporated and non-incorporated areas, how would you ensure that both and all are included?
Well, I have friends inside and outside the city. I consider them all my neighbors. We're all customers of the utility. I know it's not a company, but it's similar. We're all customers.
Right.
We're residents and customers and neighbors. And to my mind, there's really no difference in the out of city and the in city. The infrastructure needs are a little bit different because there are some customers who have, you know, a long water main to their house, so they do cost a little bit more to serve. But overall, I'd say Willard is a little bit unique in the in-city and out-of-city because of the Meadows water system, you know, that we acquired that. I do think it made a lot of sense. I understood the residents who didn't want the additional rate for them. I could go either way on that, but I see us all as customers and it would not be an issue. I have a lot of friends in Willard. You know, I get along well with people. And I would suggest to the board, when you're considering, you know, how to choose, I'm not sure that, even though I do have a utility background, I'm not sure that that's entirely necessary for this. I think it's more important that you're choosing residents who want to be, want to help the community and want to help residents. I don't necessarily think you need experts. I think a really fair way to select it would just be in order of the applicants. That's just an easy way you could do it. I don't necessarily think it needs to be someone you know or someone who's lived here a long time. It could be a good mix.
Well, with that said, how do you think the board would help improve communication between?
There's some really simple things that could happen right away. For example, if you're getting your utility bill online and it says, you know, look at the back of the bill to see XYZ information, you can't see it online. So, you know, small things like that, just fix that. You know, and you guys, I think a lot of improvements have been made in the last year or so. Keep doing that and keep thinking, how does someone know if they never come to this meeting, which, you know, they shouldn't have to. They should be able to see what their usage is. It would be nice if our bill stated what our sewer rate usage is because it's based on spring usage. It'd be nice if you could see that. I think mine is 4,000, but I only know that because I did the calculation. Shouldn't really have to do that. And so then when in the spring, when you're trying to reduce water usage, you can know what you're shooting for. So things like that. doing the announcements on the city Facebook page, that's been really useful when you have an outage. But, push that page more. Not everyone uses Facebook. I don't know, maybe you need more robocalls. I don't know, it's hard. But I know that there's been effort toward it, but I think a lot of little things, just little housekeeping things could help a lot.
So when you said select people in order, do you mean by chronological order, they're like,
Yeah.
group like first?
Yeah, because to my mind, this committee isn't necessarily about getting experts in utilities. It's about maybe even some people who don't know anything about utilities, because that's what we need is for the city of Willard to educate us so we can be liaisons to our neighbors and the community and help them understand how this works, how it could work better. When there are things that aren't being maintained, or needs that residents see, they don't necessarily have to know how it all works, but they can see that there's a problem. So, I think just a fair way would just be in chronological order. It's just an idea.
I was thinking drawing names out of a hat.
Well, you could.
So Angie, there's 4 different terms. What type of commitment are you looking at?
The length, the max was 4 years. It doesn't matter exactly.
So knowing that this board is advisory,
Mhm.
how do you see your role in that if you're selected?
Honestly, I'm not real sure, because I do think it needs to be just advisory, not any kind of, I don't know if this board would ever recommend something to the Board of Aldermen, and it would be important to distinguish between the responsibility of this committee versus the responsibility of aldermen. This committee wouldn't be the one that people should come to if their sewer is backing up. That's not our job. So I think it would be a work in progress, since it's a brand new committee, and the committee would have to figure that out with some guidance from the board and probably city administrator. I think there's been kind of a disconnect, and that was made evident in the fall over the rates issue, and I think customers want to have a better voice.
Okay, thank you.
So, thank you.
All right, is Mr. Reed here?
You say Reed?
Yeah.
That's me.
Cam Reed?
A little hard of hearing, I've got my over-the-counter hearing aids in, and it's kind of echoing, so I apologize.
Well, come on up here and tell
Okay.
us who you are and why you want to be a member of the board.
My name is Kim Reed. I live out on Farm Road 94. I've been a Willard Water customer since 2005, so right at 20 years. I have the distinction of being the last customer on your system, which is an engineer, that's the worst place to be, but I like the lot that I'm on. So when this came up, actually, I worked at City Utilities for 28 years in the water engineering department. Variety of jobs. Started out as planning, master planning, then got into design, then got into management, manager over the engineering department, and then at the end I was manager over the water treatment plant, had staff of about 40 people. So I've been involved in design, operation, maintenance of water systems, 28 years at City Utilities, and prior to that, I was with the city of San Antonio, their water system, for about 5.5 years, doing similar type work. And I remember years ago, when I was still employed at City Utilities, Willard had, I saw something about a utility board, and I was interested in it, and the attorney at City Utilities said, you can't work here and be on the utility board for another community, which didn't make sense to me. But so I've been interested in, Willard Utilities for a long time. So that's kind of my background. I'm very interested in what goes on. As an advisory board, I'm willing to help. I've been retired for 7 years. I give free advice. I still, 2 weeks ago, I got a call from one of my former employees still at City Utilities asking me about projects, and that's not unique. For the last 7 years, I've been getting calls and, you know, just want to help, you know, and, so I'm open to any questions you might have for me and happy to answer them.
What do you think the biggest concerns are that residents and non-residents have about the water and sewer services?
Well, I would say, I see 3 things. You know, money's tight now, so I know you just had the big rate thing. I did not get involved in that because I have the background of knowing how expensive it is to run a water system. And I've lived with, you know, community's mentality that water should be free. It's not. You know, it takes a lot of money to get water to a house and a lot of money to take waste away. But I think a big thing that people would like is a fair value for their money. You know, if you're gonna get a product, you wanna pay a fair price for it. Of course, the other thing would be reliability. I think customers are very in tune with. When I worked at City Utilities, that was one of our big goals was reliability. And today, as a matter of fact, I think this is the big thing is communication. And the communication I'm talking about is my water went out today. And a lot of people's did. I think there was a main break somewhere. And I stay away from social media, but my wife said they're going to town on the city of Willard about this water main break and how it's, you know, unacceptable. And I'm like, people don't get it, you know. But what I mean by communication is, and I'm not an IT guy, but with today's technology, you know, people want to know something right now. If there's a way that, you know, people that want to get text messages, provide their phone number when there's an outage or a problem. I mean, I know that takes staff work to do that and send that out, but it might prevent a lot of calls down to the city hall, like what's going on. And of course, everybody wants to know when's it going to be fixed. And my background is, it's going to get fixed when it gets fixed. There's a multitude of things that can happen. You might not have the parts, you know. You've got to call an emergency locates. That's going to take time. There's a lot of things that, you know, residents and customers might not get the full grasp of. And, you know, this advisory committee is kind of a go-between with customers and the board. You know, I think I would be able to see both sides of it just based on my background. Of course, right now I'm a customer too. So I want those things also.
So going off part of what Angie said, she hit key point for something that I think is the main issue. What quality do you think would make a great advisory board or a good advisory board?
I think you need, you know, I'm biased, but I think that it helps to have a mixture of people, some with a technical background, some people, I think long-term residents have been City of Willard and customers for longer than me. I think that type of experience, and then also people that are good communicators and people that are involved and concerned about the community.
Thank you.
I think it takes a mixture. You don't want to overload it with too much of one personality
You need
or
a good
background.
mix.
Anybody else? Well, thank you, sir, we appreciate it.
Okay. And I can't remember if I emailed a resume in. Do you want one or
No, I don't think it's
you don't need
necessary.
one? Okay, all right. Thank you.
Angie, which one did you say is not gonna make it tonight?
Jenny Williams.
I'll get you the question she emailed. I think that might have come to the clerk.
All right, is there Julie Carey? Julie Carey? Kelly Davis?
Good evening to you guys. My name is Kelly Davis. Been a resident of Willard for 45 years. came down here in '80. I watched this town make change after change after change. Some went well, some didn't go so well. But my involvement in being a part of what this board is the same. You're gonna hear the same thing. I left city utilities after 35 years. I did construction, inspection, so I'm familiar with all of it. I'm familiar with the old even being replaced, to the new being moved, to the new being put in, with nothing in but a field. So I did 20 plus years in the street. I worked in the gas, fixing gas, all gas leaks. I worked trouble truck. I worked all that stuff. I did another 15 years as an inspector, and I handled all the contract crews. There was 10 of us that did it. And in 13, I retired from city utilities. So 35 years was long enough for me. It's a great place to work. So I'm very oriented to customer service. And the reason I'm very oriented to customer service, because I worked underneath, and these guys behind me probably did too, under probably what I would say was a very talented CEO, was named Robert Roundtree. Mr. Roundtree came to City Utilities when City Utilities was having lots of issues. Bad public image, what's white and sleeps three, or, and things like that. And he came into every department and he said, look, he came from Florida, small utility, and he said, look, we got a lot of work to do here, but I need your help. And if you come behind me, I promise you we will have better equipment, better facilities, better pay, better jobs. He said, just give me a chance to show you what I can do. And Mr. Roundtree was a thinker, and he taught us all how to be thinkers with him. Customer service thinkers. What does the customer need? Customer's number one. That's all there is to it. There's no changing. If we pulled up with somebody's house to fix a water leak or a gas leak, and that customer, needed this or that, then we took care of it. We just went on and did it. It was the right thing to do because it will come back and fold to you. And as the future grew in city utilities, well, let's take it back. As Springfield started growing, but industry was leaving, Mr. Roundtree, he saw that. And he said, look, folks, you're losing jobs. Big plants are leaving. Lily Tulip, Zenith, all these places that are not only utility producers, they're job people that pay taxes and come to our communities and live here. So in the scheme of things, he said, in order for us to be the best utility, we have to have the services to back it up. We have to have a second gas line. We need a second water line. We need the power plant, which was built out there, the second power plant. James River's retired now. So you had all that going on. But, just like water's critical. We all know water's critical. Look what happened in the ice storm. How quick the tires drained when everybody drained the tires out. There was nothing to go back to. We couldn't help it. Because the power was shut off. We didn't have a lot of backups, and we didn't have no water. Well, that's okay. That's understandable. We were in a crisis, but we all got through that. And when Mr. Roundtree saw that Springfield was going to see growth, his idea was, okay, we need more industry, and we need good paying jobs. So he brought that industry to Pick West and Pick East. Those big industrial parks, that was the brainchild of Mr. Roundtree and several others on the board with him at the time. So was the pipeline coming out of Stockton. And they have that huge pipeline coming all the way up here, dumping over into Fulbright. So they're never going to want for water. So that's what we have to think about. What does the city need? Where do you guys see your growth? What do we need in the way to help the city expand? Willard is in kind of a position where we're not like a republic. We don't have some of that going on over there, but we have a lot of potential laying around here. And maybe we have a lot of older mains and a lot of older things that could be re-brought up and get fire hydrants in front of houses instead of having easements behind houses and meters behind houses. You can do that with grants and find ways of money and things like that. And the reason I know that is because there's a lot of grants out there, and I know City Utilities got a grant for a big gas thing to renew miles and miles of gas. So there's lots of options as us as a board. As an advisory to the board, my job would be to you bring stuff to us and let us look at it. Let us figure out what you guys are after. What do you need? What do we need to bring back to you by looking at it and say, hey, this is kind of what we're thinking here. See what you guys think. It's a back and forth thing. You got to work together. I will tell you, I don't know if you guys all know this. I'm president of the Willard Fire District. I've been with the fire department for 45 years. And I don't know if you've seen the growth that's happened out there. I have my finger on every bit of that. I've been participating in every election. I participated in seeing that the elections got going, participated in the hirings, everything that's gone on over the 45 years. I started out in that little building right there at AB as just a volunteer firefighter. And from that point forward, I went all the way till I was assistant chief, and I was a full-time assistant chief when we went full-time. So I'm very community active, you know. My line of, that's why I talk about forward thinking. I'm a person that likes to be moving all the time. I don't like to have my wheels stuck in the mud. I want turning and I want progress. And that's forward thinking to me. That's what I was taught through Mr. Roundtree. And you know, you could take ideas to them, you could take ideas to guys at the utility and say, hey, we got this idea here. You know, I'll tell you an example. We had let's see here, what was that? We had a deal where I put in gas services to all the new homes in Springfield. I had the contractors. So we were letting the plumbers just stick the pipe out anywhere you needed to go. So we might have to go 20 feet, 20, 30 feet behind the house to the side and dig all that up. Well, that was hard to access. They put air conditioners in front of stuff, they do all this. So I came up with a deal. I said, we should have it set where there's no more than 10 feet behind that corner, 10 feet from either side of that front of the house, no further than 10 feet back. Now, the builder developers didn't like it, but it was quicker for us to get in and maintain it, quicker to get the service in. It was easier, it didn't cause a whole lot of problems, and it saved a lot of money to the developer because he wouldn't have to, you know, pay for stuff. So there's, you know, ideas can be, you know, thrashed around with everybody. And I'm all about that. That's fine with me. You know, if a customer comes to me and says, hey, if I was on this advisory board and a customer comes to me and says, hey, you know, what do you know about this, know about that? It's really not for me to know the inner workings of what you guys are doing in here. I'm just an advisory to you. You bring information to us, we look at it, we go through it, and we bring it back our ideas to you. Hopefully good ideas to help you guys look for the future. Willard has a good future. We're feeling growing pains at the fire department too, don't think we're not. And money has to be looked at. I understand that. I watch a big budget too. So, but with forward thinking, everybody, you know, a diversity in your board, things like that, I think you have a great potential for a lot of ways to go. I think you need to do some renewal. I think you guys know that. It's not for me to tell you that. But I think you got some old pipes in town and stuff. You know, maybe pick out so many miles, 2 miles, 3 miles a year. Go after that, you know, get it replaced and move on. You know, a little at a time. So that's kind of what I'm all about. That's who I am and that's what I do. And I'm proud of the community. I coached Little League down here when I moved here. You know, I've got 2 sons. They're Springfield firefighters. They're both captains. You know, so yeah, you know, fire hydrants concern me, you know. I'm real concerned about fire hydrants. You know, when I see a fire hydrant that's not up tall enough, that bothers me because I know a fireman can't get a piece of hose on it. Or if I see a fire hydrant too close to a fence, I know we can't turn it. But that's a water thing. It's just, those are issues that can create other issues. So you address those issues, you know, things like that. So, you know, I think you guys do a good job. I think you guys had your own pains and experienced some things. I see that. I saw it happen in the fire department. But it's all gone now. It's all about moving forward. So that's what I'm all about. Happy to take questions.
Yeah, anytime I thought of one, you answered it.
Covered absolutely every question I might have come up with.
Yeah, I think you did pretty good on presentation.
Thank you, sir, we appreciate it.
All right, thank you guys, and keep up the good job. Appreciate it.
You're out of town, right, Kelly?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm on the outside. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I should have
No,
mentioned that.
I just
My
didn't
bad.
have that on my notes here.
No, I am. I'm outside. I'm over on Haven Street.
Is Jerry here? I think Jerry Hawkins. No Jerry. Calvin, Sweeney? Jeff Martin? Scott Long?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Reason I'm an inmate, okay? I live in town. I am a prison chaplain, I'm an Assembly God minister, moved here 15 years ago when I became the Assistant National Director for Prison Ministries at Global University. One of the questions I noticed is if somebody came to you and asked you what was going on, what would you do? Or can you tell me what's going on? Well, I'm a minister, and there is confidentiality, so confidentiality is not a problem. If they asked me or they had a concern, I'd say, please write it down, and the next time the board meets, I will bring it before the board and talk about it. Like the previous two men, I'm about where are we looking forward in the future. Now that the 4-lane's been completed into Willard, I notice around me there's a lot of building going on, a lot of development. Now I've lived in a lot of different towns in my years. My dad was a retired senior chief, so I lived in San Diego, California, 3 years in Pearl City, Hawaii, Mountain Home, Arkansas, where my dad retired to. I've lived in southern Arkansas. I've lived all around Arkansas. I moved up here after I left the Arkansas Department of Corrections. But what I'd like to say is that as a customer, I'm also like Angie, you know, a lot of people just want to know what's going on. All they want is information. If we have good information, guess what? We can make good choices. And most of the time, people won't get mad if they understand what's my money being spent on. That's mostly why I decided to do this, because I want to be able to say, hey, I understand what it is to be on, and most of us do. We understand what it is to be on this side. I've managed people for most of my life, was an assistant manager of a department store, night manager of a restaurant, parts and service manager of a Chevrolet Oldsmobile garage, so I'm also open to listening to other people. You know, I know a lot of it is, can you work with people that don't live in Willard? Yeah, I can work with anybody. That's part of being a minister. You got to work with people. And the other part of it is that, you know, I know a lot of people say, well, why do we need to change? Why do we have to do this? The death call of a church is, we've never done it this way before. Folks, sometimes we just have to look forward. And I agree with the man that was just up here. We have to look forward, because what are we going to see Willard like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Now, like I said, I know I'm an outsider. I've only lived here 15 years, but I just believe that because of how things are changing with all the cities that are growing around us, and since the bypass is done, Willard is going to grow the same way. We got to have a plan in place so that when that comes up, we can say, hey, we've already got this set up. We're already ready for this. Let's put this plan into place. Any question? I'm not going to give a long speech. My wife says I speak too much as it is.
Have you attended many of the meetings, public meetings?
No, ma'am. Be honest with you, a lot of times when meetings are going on, I'm out of town. I'm usually, I'm a missionary, Assembly God missionary, so I have to raise my personal budget, my work budget. So there's times I'm out of town. One of my questions I was going to ask, if the board has a meeting and a member's out of town, will they be able to Zoom in on the meeting? Because a lot of times, you know, board members, people go on vacation. And, you know, if emergency comes up and the board calls a meeting, if you're on that board, you ought to at least have the ability to be able to listen in on it, be able to talk about what's going on. No, ma'am, I haven't. That's one of the reasons I decided I want to do this, want to get more involved. My plans are I'm going to retire here. Now, God may change those plans, but right now my plans are I'm going to retire here. If I'm going to retire here, I'd at least like to have, you know, be able to voice some of the concerns. I've even thought about running for office, so y'all watch out.
What's the term you're looking for?
I haven't really looked at the terms. Whatever the city council decides they want me to be on the board, I'd just be happy to serve. So with the board being advisory in nature, meaning it's just informational gathering and advising on input that might be passed over and we may have questions on. It doesn't directly manage operations. How do you see your role in that?
as a person that's advising, basically is to gather information, hear all sides, be able to come up with a consensus to bring before the council and say, this is how the board feels, we need to move forward on this issue. Now, I know a lot of times people say, well, you know, the advisory board just gonna rubber stamp what the city council wants. Folks, if you're looking for a yes man, I'm not it. I am gonna voice my opinion. I'm gonna let you know, wait a minute, if this is not the right way to go, we may need to look at a different approach to it. That's one of the things doing what I do. I run the day-to-day operations for the ministry. So the people that work around me, when something comes up, I gather them together and I say, okay, how do y'all feel we need to fix this? What is gonna work best for you? Instead of what I think's the right answer, I ask them, what do you think's gonna be the best way to do this? It would be the same way, just to come into the council and say, okay, this is what we believe would be the best way to do this. But I think it needs to be a two-way street, as someone said. We need to come back and forth and say, yeah, this is how we need to do this, you know. So that's how I would look at it.
If there's nothing else, thank you, sir, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Brian Chapman?
Hello. Well,
You got plenty of people watching.
4 people that have talked so far. I've lived here the shortest period of time, about 8.5 years now. Moved here in late 2016. I also have no experience with utilities or water whatsoever, unlike several other people that have discussed their experiences. I do serve on a couple of boards though, so I do bring that experience with me and understand what's been discussed a couple times already. You know, our job is to listen, ask questions, make informed recommendations, and that's it. We're not making the decisions, and I certainly am very capable of doing that. I work for a local insurance company, American National in Springfield. I worked there for 21 years. I was an educator in Springfield for 8 years before that. We moved to North Springfield for the Willard School District when we had kids, and then took the next step when they outgrew the house we were in, moved out here to Willard. Love the community, and I'm just really interested in giving back to the community and participating in Willard.
You answered both of my main questions.
You're in town, correct?
Yes.
And forgive me if I missed it, you said you served on other boards. What other boards have you been on?
I serve on the Missouri State University Professional Science Masters Board. And I also serve as a member company member of the Highway Loss Data Institute Board. That's a countrywide or national organization. You've probably seen them. They do the crash tests and rate cars.
I see. Okay, well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Did I miss anybody? All right. Well, for those of you that attended tonight to talk to us and familiarize us with who you are, I really appreciate it. Because I say all the time that, you know, we rarely get enough people that want to volunteer for boards, and it's very, very difficult to get people to volunteer their time and their effort, and secondarily to actually attend the ones that they volunteer for. So it tells me a lot about what kind of people you are, that you took time out of your lives tonight to come here and put forth your name. So I really appreciate it. So thank you. And we'll be back with you soon, hopefully, with our selections, and we'll get that ball started. So thank you very much.
And then as you review notes, just keep in mind, you know, just really looking for willingness to engage, focus on improvement, and at least an interest in water and sewer. It can be a little dry, but by the time.
That's what we can use the board for.
Yep, so I think some good comments there. And then as far as initial terms, 4 years is the max, but just on those initial appointments, we'll stagger them, you know, a couple of 1s, a couple of 2s, a couple of 3s, however you want to lay it up. So that as terms expire, then you've always got that rotate through as they go forward. After the initial 4 years is up, they'll just keep going 4 years cycle.
Thank you. All right, next section is the project manager updates.
Well, the 94 lift station's force main, Dr. Martin's finishing up basically electrical specifications. He submitted a Missouri DNR. And once we get that done, we'll submit it for construction permit and approval. The issue of grant freeze is still not fully clear at this time. There's restraining orders and some injunctions, but they only cover certain things. So we're just a couple of weeks from being in a position to submit our invoice to EPA for design services. So we'll just basically do that and see what the answer is. On the Meadows connection to the city of Springfield, we've still got one property that we've got a little easement problem on. It's complicated. The matriarch passed away a couple of weeks ago. So we've been talking to the family attorney. He's trying to sort through the trustees and get this lined up where they can give us some type of certificate as to who the secondary trustees are. The trees have been fallen on the easement of 106 and 103 across the airport property.
Was this the trees involving the bats?
This is the bats.
Fantastic news.
They woke up, didn't they?
So we have met our March 31 deadline for removal of bat habitat. And trees have got laying there. We're not going to invest in a removal from the site. They're cut high enough that the stumps can be pushed with a dozer. And we'll leave that to the pipeline contractor to deal with those crowns and walls. Other than that, we're real close to putting the Meadows project on the street for bid. And we'll see what kind of numbers we get from that. Any questions, be happy to answer.
So if the grants are frozen indefinitely, what does that do to the city budget to continue to pay for the projects if funding is not there?
Well, if they were to be frozen indefinitely, there's going to have to be some resolution on that, either unfreeze them or an attempt by the administration to cancel the congressional earmark. That's got a constitutional question to it, big time. So I don't know the answer to your question, Joyce, with regard to that. If everything went away, we would be responsible for about $2.4 million of the project, round numbers. And that gets you thinking how you finance that. So hopefully this show will come to some kind of resolution here within the next month or so. But you don't know until the saying the opera till the fat lady sings, so we'll know at that point. But no, if they were to be canceled entirely, you've got the engineering to do it. Then you got to look at the financing to do it, because this was the congressional earmark covering 80% of the cost. And it's about a $3.2 million project. So 80% of that's $2.5 million. Now the Meadows, we've got some ARPA money, so we're applying to that. And once we get our bids back, that will still be doable. That's something we've talked to Piper, what is it now, Piper Sanders?
Yep.
Yeah, talked to Piper Sanders about doing a lease purchase on that. And those principal and interest costs are rolled into your rate structure that was approved. So that could go ahead, but the problem with the meadows is you can't have any growth until you get something off the lagoons. And eventually you have to close them, so you gotta start with the line first. The 94 lift station is an upgrade for capacity for the next 20 years. So it doesn't have to be done right now. But if you've got federal money available right now, put 20 cents on the table and take $1 back and do it. So we'll just, on that one, we'll just have to wait and see. I wish I had a crystal ball, but things are never dreamed of in this position.
Yes.
Here we are. Stay tuned, more to follow.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
All right, item number 7, a proposal authorizing the mayor to execute all necessary documents on behalf of the city of Willard for additional staffing.
So, earlier this year, we came before the city with a proposal for additional staffing, and we determined that the PIO clerk's position was more of a priority, which I wholeheartedly agree. It's recently come to our attention that our building inspector is looking towards retirement due to some issues. He's looking at retiring. We've been unable to find the contract and everything like that, a signed contract to review, as he is a contract inspector. So we thought it beneficial to bring a resolution to the board to look at hiring an additional staff, not only as a building inspector, but a nuisance inspector and a public works inspector also. But given the qualifications of the gentleman in the room, I mean, we could just hash it out. So, but a couple points that I'd like to point out that we do have we do have budget. Talked to Caroline about, we do have room in the budget for the position with equipment and everything like that, due to it will be a 2-department split. So Public Works has a position that's currently open that was budgeted for, and we have the remainder of our budget that was not taken by the PIO, so it would not be an increase to the budget. It would just be obviously an addition, but we would not have to amend the budget for it.
What did we have budgeted for the contract?
We had budgeted $25,000 as deemed by the board for contract inspections. We were looking at moving 20 of that over towards and keeping 5,000 because we still have a commercial inspector that does our commercial reviews, well, the major reviews and some of the commercial inspections.
So Mike, you're saying you'd like this position after Randy goes away, or get someone on now?
Well, it would be preferable. Randy is asked to, Randy's offered to stay on until we're able to find a replacement. So we would like to get a resolution from the board if they're so willing to support this and actually put this out immediately.
How difficult will it be to find an applicant that possesses the qualifications to do the three things, at least three?
Well, it's going to be difficult. Being in that field, we know that it's not going to be easy, but we are also willing to find the right person and train. So we'd be willing to put them in training for building courses, obviously walk them through subdivision inspections. They would have to know our nuisance codes and different things like that. So it is trainable, but there are conditions, that they would have to meet. The city would pony up and pay for testing and different things like that. If they did not pass the test, it would be on them to retest.
Mr. Reed looks somewhat interested back there.
He's rubbing his hands going, I don't want any of that, I don't want any of that nuisance stuff. So,
What, you're saying that the cost would be split between the two, what are we looking as an impact between the two? What are you thinking that would,
well, obviously, we're looking at, I mean, if they have qualifications, obviously, they're gonna get the higher end. I mean, we're looking at starting around 50, just for salary. But if they have qualifications and everything like that, is very negotiable, because qualifications and experience are hard to find. Questions? I didn't explain it that well, come on.
And I'd say the caveat being, the board will set the high end.
that
This
was
is a
my
budgetary
other
consideration.
question, but didn't want to really.
Yeah, we're not
What's our cap?
asking for a blank check.
Yeah.
Thank you,
We'll
Wes.
set the high end, yep.
Yeah.
I mean, my position is always one lean towards independence and getting rid of contractors, whether it's guys to make sidewalks or inspect buildings. I'd like to be self-sufficient as a city, that they fall under our domain and under our umbrella. But that's just my 2 cents.
So a motion,
Since it's just a proposal, I think we would need to bring you back this is kind of like a straw poll.
It's written in resolution form.
But you did write it in resolution form?
Well,
And then
it's
I'll
not my
take
first
that back.
meeting, Wes.
There you go.
It's written both
I'll
ways,
close
we
my
have it
mouth.
both ways here, so we're questioning.
I mean, if you got it budget, you know, I'm good with it.
Right,
Right,
if it's already,
if it's not going to affect additional budgeting, then.
Don't be too easy on me.
Hey, you know what they say, quit asking questions when you get the answer you want.
You got that right.
Stop talking. All right, anything else, Mike, on that? You good?
If they decide to do the resolution, we need a vote. If they decide to bring it back, I don't need anything.
well, in our documentation in front of me, it says a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute necessary documents. So I would make the motion that we approve the resolution as written.
And I was thinking,
Nate, do we need to have them amend a little bit to include a hand on the salary?
Yeah, we're gonna have to probably wait.
you want to postpone this?
Yeah, because it needs some better language too, so.
Okay. But there's no direction to head in now.
Shot down by legal.
Hey, let's better do it right first
Learn
time.
to watch out for you.
I was gonna write myself into it.
All right, very good, thank you. Number 8, resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing Park Director Jason Knight to purchase pre-owned play equipment.
Quick overview on this, it's under the statutory $500 limit where folks when folks do business with the city, have to kind of file some paperwork and whatnot, but in addition to that, this person offering this equipment for sale is a city employee. So that's why it's before the board and why resolution. It is a small amount of money, but for full transparency, we wanted to kind of put it out there to let you guys make a decision on whether you feel that this is an appropriate thing for us to do. As I understand, and Jason's here, he can talk more on it, but the equipment's valued at approximately $300. This employee has offered it to the city for $75.
For how much?
$75.
And it's going where?
That's what I was gonna ask, is where
It is, it's camp equipment, so it's it's a life-size set of Connect 4 and a foam and comb, I believe is what they call it, hatchet throwing set, so.
So like the tomahawk or the
Yeah,
axes?
the tomahawk throw. And apparently she had it on her Christmas wish list for her kids and got 2 of them. And rather than go through the hassle of sending it back, she offered to sell it to us for what she would put it on Marketplace for, so.
And she's not a decision maker, so it doesn't affect, you guys can purchase things from her. I think it was the $500 limit, what's in the statute, that you can't have dealings with the city for more than that, but that only includes truthfully decision makers anyway, so I think it could have been more than that, but it's, to be safe, we looked at it, there's no ethical issues there. Just needed to put it in resolution form so it's above board and everybody's aware of it. mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Make a motion that we approve the resolution to, like Jason, provide
I'll second.
play equipment.
And Joyce, you seconded
Yes,
her.
ma'am.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Alderman Hilliard?
Yes.
Alderman Hill?
Yes.
Alderman King? Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 9, a resolution demonstrating commitment to enhancing public safety within the city of Woodland, Missouri.
So this one is just a resolution of support. We are trying to get designated as a Blue Shield community by the state. This is one of several program requirements to get designated as such. Being designated as such allows us to start applying for different streams of funding to support our police department. So Chief has worked on a lot of other things. This is the one thing that we needed to present to the board. With your approval, we can add this to our packet and see if we can get a Blue Shield designation.
Do you know what some of the requirements are for the?
There was a very long list, and I can go get the
That's
list if you're
okay.
curious, but it's a substantial list. We do have, fortunately, most of it is already in place, but the resolution is one thing we did not have in place. So that's what we have for you today. We also have some nice new equipment that we can show we've invested in the community recently and things like that, crime stats, various different aspects, but this is the one we need your involvement.
So does it add to the budget list or?
Nope, no, it's just a statement of support.
I just didn't
That's all it is.
if we already meet all of the training that's stated within the resolution,
Yep.
then, then I make a motion that we accept the resolution I can't even talk. Number 9, demonstrating commitment to enhancing public safety within the city of Willard.
Second.
Okay, we do have a first and a second. Alderman Hilliard?
Yes.
Alderman Hill?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, item number 10 is a second reading, ordinance giving the mayor authority to enter into an agreement for utility tap consideration.
Just a reminder, I placed an ordinance in front of you, just constructing the language differently, but the meat of the agreement has not changed at all.
Yeah, the contract's the same, it changes the order that it flowed on here to include the ordinance and signature, ordinance signature things separate about it. So. This is the one where we were given the option to tap into the water and sewer line in exchange for an easement across the property.
This one's our second reading, right?
Yes.
So does Donna have to read before we vote?
Now, before we were doing it, Nate said, what I just read was fine.
Yeah, if there's
We just need-
provided,
we
you
just
just
need a
have to
motion.
read the heading.
Okay.
We just need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Alderman Hilliard?
Yes.
Alderman Hill?
Yes.
Alderman King?
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, item number 11, an ordinance allowing the mayor to enter into a contract with Lane Shift for consulting services. This is a first read.
It should be a second reading, is it not?
On my list, it says first.
It's a first.
Okay. Well,
Getting ahead of
yeah, you're
yourself
right.
again.
So, we are beginning our master transportation plan, and we have budgeted some money for a consultant to help with that on the public end, to get public engagement and everything like that. Lane Shift was approved as a consultant, and they have put forth a contract. Since they put forth the contract, their company of 5 has been bought by a company of 350. So we're actually going to be getting a lot better rates. So they've proposed a contract for no more than $52,000, but we don't think we're going to reach that mark because their rate structure has changed where we're going to be getting better rates per hour than we were with the 5-member team. So that's good news for us. We're looking forward to getting things started. We're still accepting applications for the steering committee, kind of give a direction of where Willard wants to go, their parks and trails and streets and amenities, to give us a general direction, and then we will begin public comments and public engagement on that.
Would we want to wait to enter into a contract until we have confirmation of the new rates?
He has an attachment of the new rates on it's part of it.
So the rates that are included here, effective January 1st, that's the new rates?
Correct, yeah. So, and if you would like more information, it's up to you. I don't want to do anything that the board's not comfortable with. But like I said, we budgeted for this at the first of the year, knowing it was upcoming, that we wanted to get things moving on the master transportation plan. And that's where we're currently sitting. So we'd like to get things approved, so we can get a steering committee going, have some meetings, and actually have a kickoff and some public engagement and see where it takes us.
Is this a bid process, Mike?
For the consulting? No, it was not.
Is this the only consulting company that we have consulted with on consulting?
No, we have other consulting companies. This is the only one I'm using on the mass transportation side, but there's no engineering at all. Missouri law defines specifically RFQs for engineering and everything like that. Consulting, correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, is not necessarily that way.
Do we have references and that, I'm just saying, if we're allotting $52,000, are we confident that this firm is the place to go with that as far as?
I have quite a bit of experience with this firm. When I presented my mixed use ordinance to you guys before, I went on an active transportation training. This firm was in charge of the active transportation training, which totally changed my mindset of all my code writing, everything like that, what I presented for you. In fact, I had to pull all that back and take it back to the planning commission because I realized what hot garbage it was. So I do have some experience with them, with the staff. I don't necessarily know, like I said, they have a lot more tools in their tool bag now than the 5-person team. If you would like, if you would like me to get references, what are you looking for, Joyce? I understand your concern with.
No, I'm just, other communities they've done this for, were they pleased with the product or the services that they provided?
And I can ask him for references and everything like that, that's not an issue. Just let me know what direction you'd like me to go.
Did you say this one you're looking at using purchased, or they bought out the 5-man team company they had? Is that what I heard you say?
They were a 5-man company. They got bought out by a 350-man company.
Okay,
so they're part of the company, but the company's allowing them to do what they continue to do what they're doing. Yeah, so they're over active transportation for this company.
And that company is just overseeing them.
Correct.
As a parent company.
That's what I understand.
I think my recommendation would be to have them sharpen their pencil on that contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Given the numbers have changed, but.
If you're saying you're able to get a better per hour rate, let's see what is that better per hour rate.
And he listed on the back of the contract the things that he would be taking care of. Would you like that broken down on a per item basis? How would you like him to sharpen his pencil? Because what would you like to see?
My thought process would be if the rates have come down, that 52,000 probably needs to come down a little bit, by the sounds of it.
Do you want it itemized, or what would you prefer?
I'll let the board speak on that.
That's why I'm
I
asking.
don't necessarily need itemized, as long as we can see that the port's taken out, yeah. If they're able to cut it, I don't need to know where, just if they can.
And it might be beneficial, Mike, also to, I mean, to help us out with what our response would be to, as to what are they providing, in a Reader's Digest version, why are they important to this project? If someone asks any of us, like, why are we spending $52,000 to hire a company to tell us, the residents, what we already know we want?
Sure.
What would that response be?
Okay, and like I said.
No, I'm not saying put it on paper, I'm just saying, tell me it right now.
And I can extend an invitation and they can stand before the board and they can explain themselves if that's what you'd like them to do also. They're in Bentonville, it's a 2-hour drive, I'm sure they'd love to experience Willard anyway.
You know, I'm thinking off the top of my head, you know, they're unbiased, professionals, experienced. I mean, those are the things that I think of, but we all don't think alike.
Would you like an invitation?
Personally, I wouldn't
For the next
mind.
Board of Aldermen?
I personally wouldn't mind if they could come forth and say, this is why you need us, or this is how we can help you. And this is why we're asking you to spend the money. I mean, that's,
Okay. I will extend that invitation for the next Board of Aldermen meeting and have them come prepared to explain.
I mean, I like the idea, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I don't like the idea, I do like the idea. But I also want to have a good response when asked. Why are we spending money on that?
I totally agree with where you're coming from, I don't have any problem with it. So let me call some people and set some things up, and we'll be ready for this board meeting.
I think it's healthy to get an outside perspective, you know, because obviously we are all biased. Everybody in this room is biased as we live here. So sometimes it's healthy to get someone from the outside
No problem.
to look at the situation.
So, adjustment of price references, a presentation before the board. Is there anything else you would like to see?
Chocolate chip cookies with that, please.
What was that?
Have them bring chocolate chip.
Chocolate.
I'll bring you cookies, Joyce.
Okay.
Okay,
No, that's plenty mine.
I'm writing down bring dessert, so. Alright.
Joyce is gonna get inundated with chocolate chip cookies.
Is it?
Don't do it, it'll probably be some kind of corruption or accusation.
No.
It's under.
That's why I said I would do it.
$500, right?
If I do it, it's not corruption.
Alright. Okay, thank
Eventually,
you.
the
I
good
will.
old boy, it's gotta produce
That was a
something,
first
right?
read.
Yes, sir, that was the first reason, we'll need to vote.
I'll come back prepared.
All right, item number 12, an ordinance of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Azabar Audit Solutions, Inc. for auditing services. This is a first read.
So in a nutshell, this proposal, it's a firm that audits local taxes, fees, franchises and such to make sure we're getting everything we're supposed to get. If they identify, for example, that a utility company isn't remitting all their franchises as they're supposed to, they will take collection activities on the city's behalf, and then they kind of take their cut from the collection. If they find nothing, then we have the assurance that we're getting all that we're supposed to get, so our revenue is secure. So it's kind of in theory, a no-cost contract, unless they find something, in which case we only pay it out of what we get.
So this is something completely different than Decker into good.
Yeah.
Theoretically, and this is literally just a hypothetical,
Sure.
because I would like to make sure that I'm understanding this as well. So this is, let's say this group is going to look at Liberty, for
Yep.
example, and say, we're going to look at everybody who lives within the Willard district, that Liberty's receipts, and make sure that Liberty's receipts match what Liberty has paid to Willard.
Yep.
And make sure that it matches what it should be, and if not, then they're going to go after Liberty to pay back to the city of Willard what is properly owed to increase our tax revenues.
That will be a
For
franchise
the
fee.
the
Correct,
franchise
but
fee.
yes, correct,
Okay.
yeah,
Minus their fee.
minus the fee.
Well, minus their fee, right.
Or higher
So
or
we're
lower.
now, yeah, so that, their incentive is obviously to find the
To make sure
most
that-
that we're supposed to get
Correct.
and to collect it, because that affects their bottom line.
So do we
On
have
the
references
backside.
for this group?
I don't think so, I think this one was recommended through GFOA, was it not?
Yeah, I had met them up at the GFOA conference and talked to them. There's some different cities that do look at it. Some cities have come out pretty good, some, we may not get nothing. I mean, there's there's no guarantees on it. Basically, they're just looking to make sure the companies are covering and paying us what we're supposed to receive.
But if we get nothing, they get nothing, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
so that is a no-cost contract.
Which to me is a good outcome too. If they find nothing, we can be reassured that our revenues are as they're supposed to be. If they do find something, we can be somewhat happy that we now have something that we can we can appoint to what Steve's working on, if it's enough. So it's kind of a win-win.
That's why I was curious about references though.
Yeah,
It's a legitimate.
they're willing to come talk and we can certainly give references. Since it was a no cost, we figured no harm, no foul, but they're very keen and willing to come talk to you if you guys would like. And then they can expand out into sales tax as well, which is it becomes more complicated. That does have a fee associated, if I recall, because it's a bit more complicated. But we figured we could start them here, see what it looks like, see the outcome, and then maybe make another decision down the road if we want them to explore further on our behalf.
Okay.
Where did you say they were out of?
Do you remember when they were out of? I felt like they were out of Texas, weren't they? As of
Yeah, I believe so.
Be a bit of a drag to come present something.
Oh, I think they were hoping on online, which I would obviously have to get the TV working for.
Have we got the new replacement yet? The undamaged version?
Well, that's the story.
That's a different
I think
story.
I'm just gonna have to go to the store and buy it myself.
Might be easier.
Hanging on the wall. It's been a story, but we will get there. April's surprise.
All right, item number 13, an ordinance establishing formal policy for seasonal employees of the city of Willard. This is also a first read.
So with the seasonals, it's kind of formalizing our seasonal employment policy, gives us clarity in hiring, duration, reapplication requirements. It establishes that a seasonal employee is hired for a definite period of time, must observe a 13-week break between appointments to keep us kind of safe with ACA rules. It also ensures compliance with some employment policies, regulations, oversight, and all other fun stuff. So ultimately sets a framework for us to work from when we hire seasonal. It also helps us to kind of control the budget as it goes with that because it requires oversight if they go over the minimum or the maximum time period of 6 months.
So that people basically know they have a 6-month job and that's it?
Yep. Yep, and we'll put that in writing.
And the ACA is the Affordable Care Act.
Yes.
So it doesn't trigger healthcare benefits.
It doesn't affect what they might be receiving.
Right, so if they go over the there's an hour limit and a 6-month, there's a time limit. If they go over that, then you can go back and audit, and then any work they do after that, they would get.
Yeah, that's
If they're receiving additional funds elsewhere.
There's a 30-hour week average, 130-hour a month average, I think it was, and initial measurement period, which is why we put the 13-week break in there because then it resets the initial measurement
Right, so
period.
it's that average over a 6-month average, even if they only work a shorter amount of time, but it's.
Yeah.
All right. Item number 14, an ordinance authorizing the city of Willard, Missouri to enter into an agreement with International Cybernetics Company, LP, doing business as IMS Infrastructure Management Services for the pavement management and structural testing project, approving the fee proposal and scope of work and authorizing the execution of necessary documents. This is also a first read.
My response is going to be a lot shorter than all that.
Good Lord.
So we budgeted this last year. It's a pavement management survey company recommended by our engineers, CJW. We need to get a road plan in place. These folks will help us do that. They'll go out, they'll drive every road mile that we have in town using measuring equipment, LiDAR and cameras and all sorts, and let us know the true condition of our roads. Sometimes the roads look good, but the core underneath is not so good. And then sometimes they're obviously bad, and we all know how bad they are. From there, Trevor and I can sit down and put together a road plan. Some of the equipment we've got this year will help us with that, the drag box, and hopefully if we can get the crack sealer figured out, we'll present that in the next meeting. That'll be another tool that will help us make sure we can get our road quality index up. Right now, a windshield survey by yours truly, I'd say it might be about a 50 if we're lucky. You know, we want to get a little higher than that. We're also seeing new roads going in, so having a plan and equipment together to keep those good roads good for longer, will let us focus more of our funds on bad roads. But throwing money at what we think is a bad road is not a good bet. So this will help us make sure we know what we're looking at, know what we're doing. It's another reason we decided to pause the road work this year. We had planned for some large expenses, but rather make sure it goes on the right roads to begin with. Roads are expensive. It's the most expensive infrastructure we're responsible for, so we want to do it right. But anyway, it's budgeted for, and with your approval, they'll get this scheduled, they get this done, we'll get a plan in place, and we'll be able to present more information to the board on our plan for the future. Forward thinking, as somebody said.
That was Kelly.
Yeah.
All right. Next section is city administrator remarks.
A few things going on. We've got our financial scorecard out there on our transparency section now. The next step is to move towards some monthly reports for our budgetary. We've got a goal now of posting our monthly revenue and expense reporting, ideally with the April financials, which usually come out around May when Karen gets everything together. So department heads will first be tasked with a monthly, or probably more likely a weekly report, showing all their spending so they can go through and look and make sure it's kind of all in the right place. That'll help Carolyn make sure sooner that things are in the wrong place, they can be fixed. And then we can take that report and give it to the public so they can see, here's what came in, here's what went out, here's where it went, and give them that idea of transparency there. We are adding some trackers to our budget. Carolyn's going to add some repairs, inflow and infiltration, and improvements in our spending tabs for water and sewer. I feel like that'll probably be some data points the advisory board will be interested in, and heck, we're all probably curious too. So we're going to add those in so they'll start showing up on there. For a good example of that is we have $50,000 that's been budgeted for I&I, but we don't really see it because it gets buried in other things. So it would be nice to show the public, hey, this is what we spent and this is where it went. Everybody kind of knows that one. They know, well, it's a miscellaneous here, and we spent something on a contract over there. So we're going to try and apportion that in a way that is clear. We anticipate the sidewalk on, we worked on that section of New Melville and AB, and then there was kind of a hang up with AB. We do anticipate that will be cleaned up and completed this week. We've been threading the needle around weather and infrastructure challenges elsewhere for a couple of months, but Trevor was confident this morning that we should have that done by Friday. So that sweet kid that I see walking to school every day, walking and dodging the cones, she'll finally be able to walk a straight line, following the path. I'm sure people will be happy.
Really messed up my bike ride yesterday.
Sorry about that.
Going around. Yeah, I did. Go down the ditch. And
yeah, this poor kid, I was driving to work one day and it had just rained and it was cold, and she's trying to kind of dive around the cones. Oh, we'll be there soon. Hang on, man.
Come on, Trevor.
We'll finally be there. There's also, just giving you a heads up, the area has been discussing legislative priorities, and the Ozarks region legislative priorities has been completed. They sent us something in the mail today. I'll try and email it to you. I'll get it scanned in and email it to you. They're asking if the city will agree to do a resolution of support. Other cities in the area have done so. It doesn't really commit us to any money, but it does seem to line up quite nicely with what we're trying to do as well, and I think what wider Willard community is doing as far as education and healthcare and things that make communities nicer. So I'll present it to you, give you something to think about, and then we can kind of discuss from there. I'm working on the annual update. Staff have been providing me with some successes that have been going on, and we'll try and put all that together for kind of a state of the city, and I think we'll, once we get your input after the first presentation and see what you'd like to see in it and what you'd like to hear from it, we'll make that annual state of the city address and share that with the public, obviously through the presentation, but maybe some documents, maybe a mail out or something that they can kind of read and see what we're up to. And I hope to have that completed and a TV next time for me to present it on, so fingers crossed. And then as I alluded to, we hope to have something to present to you about a crack sealer at the next meeting. We're hoping to find a way to keep it within our authorized budget. We haven't bought all the equipment we plan to, but we want to make sure it's right. We'll get that $30,000 from Green County to put on it. If it's not the right fit for us this time around, we can maybe budget another time and find another place to spend the $30,000. So it's not like the funds will go away if we don't do this thing, but we'll have that to you hopefully next time. Carolyn's working on total costs and just making sure it's going to fit within our numbers. Just a public plug, there will be a public education session number 2 at the police department on March 27th from 5:30 to 6:30 regarding the ballot question for the half-cent sales tax for public safety purposes. And there's also an online presentation in the works that we'll put on our website when it's ready. So we'll get that out hopefully this week. I think Tom's about wrapped up with that. There is a city officials training being conducted by Laura in Springfield on May 2nd. I understand it's fast, but if any of you are interested, let me know. We'll get you registered. The cost is very nominal. There's also another one in Webb City on May 16th if your schedules can't do the second or if it's full. It's 8:30 open with a breakfast, then a seminar from 9 to 12, lunch, and then from whenever you get back from lunch to 2 and done. It's quite beneficial. It's quite good information. I went to that before I started here, and it was helpful. It's a good way to understand how things work. And that is all.
Put me down for that, Wes.
Put you down?
Yep.
Okay.
When is it?
May 2nd, and then that's at Springfield. And then the next one is May 16th in Webb City if it's full or your schedule works for that one better.
May 2nd works.
May 2nd works?
It's a pretty good training.
Okay. I'll let you know.
Yeah, we bet you would.
Well, except for one particular lawyer.
I might be doing some of the presentation.
Okay, there you go. Well, I'll get you both put down and I'll let you know when I can get you in for. We'll try and get you in the Springfield one.
Yeah, because I like Webb City. I don't want to hear from Webb City. I'm just tired of them beating us in football.
Good, but
That's
got
good.
to,
Soft spot.
Les?
Yeah, oh, you want to? It's probably good, I'd say. No, it's changed.
Beat everybody in football.
They had a down year this year though.
Yeah.
Les?
But they
Let
did.
Bernie down.
You want to go down to?
Yeah, they had kind of a down year for them.
All right.
Yeah, they still beat Carthage.
Carolyn.
I look at my calendar, I think
Regular
Yeah,
season.
it's probably
It's a big good luck.
pretty sure it's open.
Yeah. They had about 30 years.
All right, Wes, is there any unfinished business?
No, sir.
All right. If there's nothing else, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
It's not hugely taxing, but it is hugely
Okay, we do
helpful.
have a first and a second. Alderman Gilliard. Yes. Alderman Hill.
Yes.
Alderman King.
Yes.
Alderman Lancaster. Alderman Wilson.
I don't remember what